Story 1. I have been unattractive and financially struggling my whole life. I can handle being wealthy and unattractive. Story 2. I am happy with my appearance and my husband and I could do a lot with $2 million, so I am taking the money. Story 3. $2 million for sure. I would be extremely attractive if I had $2 million. Story 4. Money is the clear winner. Looks fade over time, but money grows if you invest it. Story 5. I'll take 10 out of 10. Pretty privilege is real. I would probably be able to put myself in a position to make a lot more than $2 million if I were universally attractive. Story 6. The money for sure. My husband already thinks I am a 10 out of 10 person, and I do not care about anyone else's opinion on my looks. Story 7. 10 out of 10 looks. People often forget how being attractive is essentially life on easy mode. Story 8. I do not think people realize that if you are genuinely perfect, making millions is not a problem. Story 9. 10 out of 10, I would make more on OnlyFans. Edit. People are not considering the magical or fantasy component. A 10 out of 10 created by a genie means you are the personification of beauty that is unimaginable. You cannot compare this to what you think a 10 out of 10 is. If the original poster had said very attractive, then sure, many very attractive people do not make money. Edit 2. Change to unimaginable to avoid confusion. Story 10. 2 million, please. My game is so weak. I couldn't get any action even if I had perfect vision. Story 11. 10 out of 10 looks. This would make it easy to earn more than $2 million. Anyone here claiming to be a 10 is obviously not telling the truth. Story 12. I have made it nearly 40 years as a solid 4, and at this point, who cares? I would take the $2 million. Story 13. First option, you can easily capitalize on it. Plus, you have no problem finding a partner. Everybody wants a piece of you. Story 14. 2 million. Debt eliminated, travel more, large breast implants, which would make the rest of my body appear smaller by comparison. Story 15. I would give it a perfect score if it also solved my health issues. I would even take it just for the health issues. Story 16. Give me a perfect score based on my standards. I would have to be the pinnacle of human beauty. Story 17. 10 out of 10. $2 million does not go very far. Adjusted for inflation, the stock market returns 7.5%, which is $150,000 per year. Not bad. But you are not making it rain Benjamins over strippers in Las Vegas. 10 out of 10 will get your foot in a lot of doors and will end up being worth more than $2 million. People just prefer to be around attractive people, so you can ingratiate yourself with the rich and get benefits that would otherwise be out of your price range. Jeremy Meeks, known for his mugshot fame, was dating a billionaire's daughter and has a modeling career that I guarantee earns more than $150,000 per year. Story 18. 10 out of 10 attractiveness, then become a supermodel and marry a billionaire heiress. Story 19. I feel like nobody read the question carefully. The original poster wrote, offers you a choice between being a 10 out of 10 attractive human or $2 million. That means you can choose between becoming perfectly attractive or becoming $2 million. I do not want to be turned into a stack of cash. Story 20. 2 million. I can use part of that money to work towards being beautiful by getting weight loss surgery, laser eye surgery, and acne scar removal. The rest of the money would pay off debts and help my dad and brother. Story 21. How old are you being a 10? I am 67, so I will take the 2 million. But if I am a 10 at 20, well. Story 22. I like the way I look and would not change it, but $2 million would improve my whole life. Story 23. If I had $2 million, I could put it in a high-yield account and live off the interest. Looks like you can't do that. Story 24. I wonder if being a perfect 10 would come with genetic health benefits. If you are naturally that way, you might live longer. Also, being that attractive can have financial benefits. Currently, though, I would choose money because I am older. Story 25. If I had an extra $2 million, I could retire tomorrow, and so could my wife. We have a small house in the country that we could quickly renovate. Then, I would interact with as few people as possible for the rest of my life. My wife already agrees to sleep with me, so I am attractive enough for my needs. Story 26. I will take the 2 million. That would push me over the line for early retirement. Story 27. Many people on Instagram think they can make more than 2 million. Story 28. No, people underestimate the power of the attractive advantage in life. Being good-looking can make you wealthy. However, you may spend that money quickly and still face challenges. Trust me, life is not easy for unattractive people. Story 29. I have been broke and unattractive my whole life. I can manage being unattractive, but being broke is difficult. Story 30. $2 million is going to make you a perfect 10 to superficial people anyway, so you have the best of both worlds. Story 31. Already happily married, so I am attractive enough. I will take the money. Story 32. $2 million to buy a house, invest, and still have enough to retire. Up to 4% withdrawal rate per year, and you are set up for life. Story 33. The money. I do not care about my looks. I am already gorgeous. Story 34. If I pick the 10 out of 10 and suddenly get attention from people who did not give me any previously, it will probably feel awful. I do not want that. 2 million, on the other hand, is very nice as long as it is clean money. Story 35. Attractive. I would be taken seriously and be able to wear nice clothes. It would be great. Story 36. The money is important. What use is being a perfect 10 and attractive at 56 years old? Story 37. Money, thanks. I do not care about being the hottest person ever, but the money will seriously help me and my family. Story 38. 2 million and invest to retire. Take a look at people like celebrities who do not have to work all the time and can work out whenever they want. Story 39. I will take the 2 million because I get enough attention as it is. Being more attractive would not mean anything. Story 40. Okay, I would probably choose the money, but I have a question. I am transgender but have not been able to transition at all. If I chose to be perfect, would I be attractive as a girl since I was born female or as a guy? Story 41. If I am a 10 out of 10 attractive person, I can make way more than 2 million. Story 42. You can make a lot of money by being perfectly beautiful. I feel like you could exceed 2 million easily. Story 43. Twist ending. The genie would have made you a 10 out of 10 by giving you $2 billion. Story 44. 2 million. Attractiveness is subjective. It is not something that is universally agreed upon. Story 45. Since no one else seems to realize it or say it, I would take being a Los Angeles/New York City 10, because things just happen much easier for people who are that much more attractive. Similar to how if you show up sober and on time, you are better than 75% of the competition in the trades. If you can stay somewhat responsible and manage vices properly, the world is there for the taking for anyone that attractive. Story 46. Being 10 out of 10 attractive has more monetary value than $2 million. Taking the money is wrong. Story 47. I think it depends on your age and situation. Despite what most people are saying in this thread, I believe you should probably choose the 10 out of 10 attractive option in the majority of cases, especially if you are under 40. Story 48. Is the 2 million after taxes? What are the taxes on gift transfers? It is $35,000 for family gifts. I guess technically it could be inheritance tax or, in the worst case, lottery tax. Story 49. I would choose the money. It could be used to make my unattractiveness of no consequence. Story 50. If attractive also means being in good health, not needing to wear glasses, having great teeth, a good-sounding voice, great hair, peak human strength, agility, stamina, and so on, then I am rating it 10 out of 10. Story 51. I would pay $2 million to not be bald, so any other physical improvements beyond that would be a bonus. Story 52. I am happy with myself. Meanwhile, I could use the money. Money it is. Story 53. $2 million. Invest $1.5 million towards a dividend-focused stock portfolio for $100,000 in savings. $100,000 in the checking account is still enough to make me highly attractive to some gold diggers out there. Story 54. Make me a 10. I can easily make 2 million with my education and acquired on-the-job skills. The attractiveness will make it easy to jump to sales, and then the real money rolls in. Story 55. I am already unattractive, so I am going to take the money. With that money, I can live the rest of my life without doing anything. Story 56. $2 million because being attractive would attract people, and people are unpleasant. Story 57. I would take the 10 out of 10 and leverage it into a modeling and acting career. Make a lot more than 2 million if it is a real 10 out of 10. Cannot score higher. Story 58. Being a perfect score will probably get you much more than just 2 million if used correctly, so I agree with that. Story 59. 10 out of 10 sounds good to me. I am moderately attractive, but crank it to 10 and life is on easy mode. Story 60. I feel like you can use your appearance to earn much more than 2 million, so I am using my appearance and starting an OnlyFans. Story 61. If you are certain, earning 2 million should not be too difficult from promotions and sponsorships. I am relying on good appearances. Story 62. 2 million. After being friends with attractive people, I realized how much I would hate being extremely attractive just based on looks. Story 63. Being more attractive leads to more attention from people. $2 million equals the ability to escape people. Yes, I will take that in cash, please. Story 64. 2 million. I am well enough to reach an 8 with the proper adjustments that I will have the money to afford. Story 65. 0 to 20. Give me the money. 21 to 60. Give me the looks. 61 and above. Give me the money. I am 61 and above and want to retire, not chase women. Story 66. $2 million can make me attractive anyway if I want. Story 67. 2 million. I can live comfortably for the rest of my life and hire a trainer so I can become an 8. Story 68. Return to your container, you irritating nuisance. Story 69. I would not want to be a 10 anyway since it would just mean conventionally attractive. Not interested. Sounds like a hassle. Give me the money. Story 70. 10 out of 10 is much more valuable than $2 million. Make it 20 million, then it becomes a debate. Story 71. What a weird genie. I'd rather he fix my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, to be honest. I don't need to be attractive and I don't need $2 million. Story 72. 2 million, obviously, that would help me and my family tremendously, whereas me being a 10 would not really make much of a difference. Story 73. I'm decent looking, but in the world of Derek Zoolander, I am a 3 out of 10 at best. I am quite confident that an objectively perfect 10 out of 10 person could easily make $2 million doing modeling, speaking, and similar work. It would just make life much easier. Life would be a lot easier being good looking for others than for my wife and mother, so I would choose the looks. Story 74. $2 million can get you a personal trainer and plastic surgery. Story 75. Money. If you understand human beings, you do not need perfect skills to operate in the best way possible. However, without money, it is very hard for you to get into places to start with. Story 76. I think being a 10 could lead to more than a measly couple $1 million. Story 77. 2 million, because then I could choose between many 10 out of 10 women without being 10 myself. Story 78. Top attractive. People just give you things for free, and you will make a lot more than 10 million. Story 79. I bet if you choose 10 out of 10 attractiveness and play your cards right, you could earn more than $2 million. Story 80. I have been unattractive and financially struggling my whole life. I can handle being wealthy and unattractive. Story 81. $2 million. I would pay off my debt and be comfortable for the rest of my life. Story 82. No, let me hold that bag, family. There is no guarantee that the 10 out of 10 will ever see such a large amount of money. Story 83. Both. But no, easy 2 million. I do not care about looks when I am rich. Story 84. 10 out of 10 for how long? In today's narcissistic-oriented world, you could make that money with good looks, especially if it lasts well into your 50s. Story 85. Honestly, if you are a perfect 10, you can probably earn a lot more than $2 million with little to no investment, so I would take a perfect 10. Story 86. 10 out of 10 attractiveness creates opportunities. You can sell your image and earn more than $2 million. Story 87. $2 million, of course. Always look for what you lack. Story 88. I would choose money because money makes you attractive. Story 89. I would definitely take the money. They may be attractive on the outside, but I value inner beauty more. Story 90. The money. To be fair, most people just need to properly dress and do their hair to look good. Maybe not perfect, but still good. You can put those $2 million to use for a business or investments. Story 91. I will take the $2 million. Physical attractiveness never lasts. Money does if you are smart with it. Story 92. I am already married, so I do not have anyone to impress. Give me that cash. Story 93. Can I choose neither? I just want to be myself. If I need money, it will come. No genie needed. Story 94. 2 million. More than enough to fund a small militia and give this nation the push it needs for a civil war to begin. I am not talking about the United States nor any European country. Story 95. Money. I do not care what people think, and even if I were unattractive enough to be alone my entire life, I would still value peace, freedom, and solitude over someone caring about my appearance. Story 96. The money, of course. I am not ugly but invisible in public, I guess. And I like it that way. Story 97. 2 million. I am not trying to impress anyone, so 2 million would provide me with a modest living for life. Story 98. Am I still myself if I make the first choice? I assume my appearance would change, but would my personality also change or just seem more attractive to everyone? Story 99. I would choose appearance without question. People who are more attractive tend to earn more over their lifetimes. If you are attractive enough, you can earn more than $2 million based on your looks alone, especially if you are somewhat intelligent. Story 100. Give me the money. I enjoy the life of an unattractive man. Story 101. I would rate myself a 7. That is perfect. Not bad enough to repulse attractive men, but low enough to filter out the really shallow ones. A friend of mine is a 10 and another a solid 9, and I am happy to let them have the player's attention. So give me the 2 million. Story 102. $2 million. I am 63 years old and have no use for perfect attractiveness. Cunning, wisdom, intellect, charisma, maybe. Story 103. Give me the money. Looks come and go. I would rather be with someone who is not a perfect 10. Most of the super beautiful people are full of themselves. Story 104. I am already a millionaire in Dubai. I do not need more money. I am choosing the first option. Story 105. I am happy with the way I look. Money would keep me happy. Story 106. $2 million. Invest it wisely today and it could go a long way. Story 107. 2 million is a lot. But it is not never work again money. I like the life I have and I never feel too constrained by money. So becoming 10 out of 10 would be a more substantive lifestyle change for me, and I think I would get more out of it. Story 108. The money. I cannot do anything with attractiveness, which is subjective anyway. Story 109. 2 million is easy. That's enough money to never have to worry about what you do for the rest of your life. I am already okay being a 4 out of 10 when I am 50 pounds skinnier. Story 110. Negotiate for a +5 to 10 attractiveness rating and $1 million. Use the money and improved appearance to attend college and obtain credentials to become even more attractive for work. Story 111. Who is the beholder deciding what makes a perfect 10? I would choose that for my wife's sake. Story 112. The money. Explaining how your appearance has changed constantly would be tiresome with everyone assuming you had radical plastic surgery. That is assuming you were still recognizably you. As I understand it, the most average and symmetrical facial features are perceived as the most attractive, so you could get the Renee Zellweger effect of not looking like yourself. Obviously, I have given the question far more consideration than is merited. Story 113. The amount of attention one must get being a perfect 10 just sounds exhausting, and I would hate it. Story 114. I will take the $2 million. I could do more with that than by being good looking. Story 115, 2 million because I can get plastic surgery if I ever want to and still have a large amount of money. Story 116, $2 million makes me a 10 out of 10 attractive person. At the same time, that attractiveness could get me a modeling or acting career, which could make me more than 2 million. Story 117, I am attractive enough to accept the money without hesitation. Story 118, 2 million Venezuelan dollars or 10 out of 10, which equals 1. Attractive? No thanks, genie. Nice try. Story 119, 10 out of 10 attractive because I can get a group of wealthy women to ask for assistance, and then I will obtain $2 million. Story 120, if you had a flawless appearance, you would have no issues receiving the payment afterward. Story 121, I assume if you are attractive enough, you can marry for any amount of money. However, I would prefer to take the cash. Story 122, so, 2 million and my looks stay as they are now? I am not a 10, but I will take the cash all day long. Story 123, money. Because if I looked better than my partner, there would be drama. Story 124, I'll take the 2 million. I do not know why I would choose being made a few notches uglier. Story 125, beauty is subjective. I will go for the objective 2 million euros. Buy a small house, invest the rest, done. Story 126. That is an easy choice. I take the money. Why would I choose to become less attractive? Story 127. I have 2 children under the age of 2 and a husband. We could use it to provide a secure future for our family if we are smart about it. Story 128. I am perfectly happy being a 5 or whatever. My husband is crazy about me. Money would be life-changing right now. Story 129. Neither. You do not trust genies because they manipulate. That $2 million will have taxes taken out, and that attractive person will be just looks. Story 130. Cash. I am broke and already accustomed to being less than perfect. Story 131. 10 out of 10 attractive for sure. $2 million would change my life, but 10 out of 10 attractive is incredible. I would really like to see what it is like to be that attractive. Story 132. Money. I would invest it all with the hope that I may actually be able to retire sometime before I die. Story 133. 2 million. Even if I stay perfect to old age, I can do a lot more with 2 million. Story 134. 2 million for sure. I would be looking good when I do not have to worry about life. Story 135. I am too old for 10 out of 10 to do much for me, so I will take the cash. Story 136. I am confident I would completely ruin my life quickly if I were extremely attractive. The money is much safer. Story 137. The money. I am already decent looking and have an amazing fiancé. Know what I do not have? $2 million. That moves retirement from 15 years to 10, maybe less. Story 138. I am older and already married, so I will take the money. If I were not married, I would still take the money. Story 139. $2 million for sure. I am comfortable with how I look and do not intend to do anything romantic or sexual, so I think the looks would be a waste for me. Story 140. Money. I am completely satisfied with my attractiveness and do not want the extra attention that being rated 10 out of 10 would bring. Of course, this also assumes I could keep the money secret because that would also bring unwanted attention. Story 141. I think I am already a 10 out of 10, so I will take the million. Laugh out loud. Story 142. I have been unattractive and attractive. Never perfect, but enough to experience pretty privilege, and usually had my choice of men or women when I wanted. It also came with a decade of harassment, several sexual assaults, stalkers, and fake friends. You never know if someone is nice to you because they want something or because they genuinely care. I am much older now with many health issues that took their toll. While I am not unattractive, I do not think I am anyone's. Woman Crush Wednesday except for my wonderful husbands. And it has been a very positive life change. Drama-free. I do not get direct messages. I received my first friend request in a year yesterday. I do not have men hitting on me or women resenting me because their boyfriends stare at me. If I were a man, I might feel different. I would certainly feel safer. But I honestly cannot imagine going back to being young and pretty, and that was maybe at a 6 or 7 out of 10. I can hide $2 million. You cannot hide being perfectly attractive. Story 143. I can buy 10 out of 10 attractiveness with $2 million. I cannot buy $2 million with attractiveness. Easy decision. Story 144. Depending on your gender, you can use social networks to achieve different goals. If you are a woman, you can earn more than 2 million. If you are a man, 2 million will make you more attractive. Story 145. I am relaxing in my house by the ocean, entertaining the wildlife with my appearance. Story 146. I will take the cash. I am very comfortable with my appearance. Thank you. Story 147. $2 million. Married and happy. With the money, we will be married and happier. Story 148. 10 out of 10 for sure, because as society has shown repeatedly, I would make way more than that just by being that attractive. Story 149. Being 10 out of 10 attractive would probably make me a target. I will take the money and hide, thanks. Story 150. $2 million because I am maybe 10 years from retirement. Have you seen the cost of healthcare and assisted living? Story 151. Appearance can generate millions more than what you would earn from investing $2 million. Story 152. I will take the $2 million. I have already become accustomed to not being perfectly attractive, but I will never get used to not having $2 million. Story 153. I would ask for a specific and detailed explanation of what a 10 out of 10 attractive human means. Depending on the answer, that could be worth much more than $2 million. Story 154. The cash. My wife already thinks I am attractive, and that is good enough for me. Story 155. 10 out of 10. Have you seen some of these 5 out of 10 people? They are making significantly more than $2 million. Story 156. Beauty is only skin deep, whereas the value of $2 million is known upfront. I would take $2 million easily over a potential nightmare dealing with some random beauty. Story 157. 10 out of 10 beauty. Take advantage of it to expand my network, find better jobs, and make more money. Story 158. $2 million would enable me to buy a house to leave for my sons free and clear, so I know they will always have a place to live. Story 159. Attractive so that I would magically lose the extra weight I have carried for 50 years. My wife would be happier too. Story 160. I am married, so someone already found me attractive enough. Give me that 2 million. Story 161. 2 million. I am already married, so why do I need to be 10 out of 10? Story 162. $3 million. I have been married for 12 years to a woman I knew for 10 years before that. Losing a point of attractiveness would not help me at this point at all. Story 163. $2 million because I need it far more than being good looking. Story 164. As a perfect 10, I could eventually make $2 million off of my looks, especially if I have washboard abs. So, 10 out of 10, the amount of confidence I would have as a perfect 10 would be astounding. Story 165. Beauty is only skin deep. $2 million is $2 million deep. Story 166. $2 million is enough for my needs. Being highly attractive can be more lucrative if you are in a position to take advantage of it, such as being single, having motivation, and being able to endure the challenges required to turn your appearance into financial success. Story 167. $2 million for sure. My wife and family already know what I look like, and we are all okay with that. So it would be free money. Story 168. $2 million because I can do more with it than just being a perfect-looking old lady. Story 169. 10 out of 10 attractive because I could do the things I love without being self-conscious. However, I wonder how much I would change, and that is scary. Story 170. 10 out of 10. Life is easier when you are beautiful. $10 million would be no contest. $2 million is not retirement money. It is a nice house with no payments and a trust to pay property taxes and insurance forever. Story 171. Did you see Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos before and after? Money is the answer. Story 172. Become a Hollywood actor. There are more than 2 million opportunities available. Story 173. I'm taking the $2 million. My family could use that money for a comfortable lifestyle. Not luxurious, just a decent lifestyle. I would rather be average looking but wealthy than be gorgeous but poor. Story 174. Beauty is subjective. We are talking about a genie here. For all we know, we are going by the genie's standards. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.